Hi Crafty Friends, Lacey here, the Cheeky Bum, back with another Scrap Diva design team project. So today I'm going to show you how I made the cute little, just called cute gift box. And I definitely pulled in some dies from last month's release. This is out of the May release, which will be available May 1st. I will link everything down below that I used in this project, but I definitely pulled in some April release things as well. But this box is just so cute. It holds a wand and it's meant for that, but you could use it in many different ways. So we're just gonna get into it and I'll show you how I made it. Okay, we're gonna start with the base piece. So you're gonna need 2 of these. And then over here we have this piece that has the little circle indent. You're gonna need 1 of these. And then you have this octagon. Is it hexagon? Hex is 6 sides, right? Yes. Octo is 8. Yes, I think so. I cut out 2 because I think I'm not quite sure how I'm going to attach this base yet. So I put out 2. And then you have this piece and you're going to need 6 of those. And then you have these square pieces, and these are, you know, to put on your box here. You're going to need 6 of those. They give you 2 pieces. You're going to need 6 of those. And you're going to need 6 of these little triangles. Now, these half pieces are if you want to, you could have, used this as a mat and then inserted. I'm not going to do that. So I didn't cut out this piece. So that's the only piece I didn't cut out. And then you have these little circles, which you'll see in a little bit that's what holds your straw in place. So I'm gonna first go through and just start folding all of my score lines, because I know that this piece is gonna be a little tricky because of the curved edges. So we'll start with, you might have to, depending on how thick your card stock is, this is basil and it's pretty sturdy. It's not quite 110 pound. I don't know what poundage it is, but it's going to be a little bit harder to bend right at that score line. But I wanted it to be nice and sturdy since it's a box, so I wanted to use something that's a little thicker. So we're going to do that. We're going to do all these little pieces. See, how that one didn't want to bend quite properly. Sometimes this basil just, see, it wants to be all wonky now. So you have to really take your time. Not that anybody's going to see those portions, but you just want to make sure that you have a good, surface for, adhering. And everybody's going to probably put this box together slightly different. Maybe not. I mean, it all really just depends. And I was painting today, so I have paint on my fingers, so I'm sorry about that. All right, now we have this piece. I don't know if I want to bend that in half. It's gonna be a tricky little box. Now, since you are putting mats on these, you probably could go with a lighter cardstock. I think by adding the mats, it would probably give it some more strength. But again, I wanted to make sure, I wasn't playing around, and I also wanted to use this orange. So we got it like that. Now these are going to be the trickier bits. I'm not even quite sure. So yeah, you're gonna it's gonna fold like this. And this will probably come a little bit more naturally once the box is put together, but I just wanna make sure. So I'm just gonna give it a slight little, all you have to do is basically pinch this in and it'll give it the natural, it'll wanna curve. So just like that. So we're gonna fold the next page, or the next piece too. Okay, once you have those done, we're gonna attach these two pieces. Now, if you want to use tape, double-sided tape, you can use double-sided tape. I'm gonna use glue. I use Barely Arts glue, but you can use whatever your little heart desires, whatever works best for you. So we want to do it right before the score because you're going to want it to be able to bend. And I wanted to do it in glue just so I had a little bit more wiggle room because I haven't put this together yet. So I wanted to make sure. And because this is bent too, like it's not going to line up perfectly, but this is going to be matted anyway, so you're not really going to see that imperfection except for that right there. That's probably going to bother me, but we'll see. We'll see when it's all together. And then I think that what I want to do, so I know that you're going to want to glue this on the inside because that's probably the easiest, or so you don't see this, but I think what makes it easier for me is when I can glue it on the outside like this and I can go all the way around. So that's why I cut a second piece so that I could use this as a matting piece so that I won't see those tabs. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So I'm gonna attempt to do it this way and hope that it works. We'll see. So I'm gonna start with one piece. And again, you want to make sure that you're going to be able to bend it. So I would honestly take your piece like so. And you're going to have to give it more of a minute to grab because it's already bent over, so it's going to want to lift. That's good. So now the rest of the ones are what's going to get, it's going to get trickier and trickier as you go. This is where you might want to use score tape so that you get that like instant kind of grip, but it's again completely up to you. You could also use like double-sided tape and glue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it up like this so that I can take my bone folder just like this. Where it's going to get tricky is that last little piece. That's going to be the tricky one. Not everybody loves to put together 3D projects. It's really not for everybody, but I love doing them because they're so cool. Especially boxes. I like boxes. If I can make a box to hold something, I definitely try. You know what I should have done and I didn't do? I should have matted my pieces before putting this bottom on. Well, this is how I'm doing it. I should have done it the other way, but I think the matting pieces would have been so much easier to do before putting this together. You live and learn. Like, this is straight up trial and error for me right now. And I should have made my life easier, but I didn't. If you really wanted to, you could mat the inside of the box as well, depending on like how pretty you want your box. Popped open. You gotta give it that chance to adhere, and I didn't. Alright, I think that's good now. So now I'm gonna make sure this piece is glued down pretty good. There you go. So that's what your box is gonna look like so far. Well, if you're following this my way, and then I need to let this dry for a minute before I do too much, because if I move this around, these could pop open. So this is why I cut the second piece, so that I could mat the bottom like this, and you won't even see those little tabs. So that's how I thought I would do it. You could do it the other way. You could have the tabs on the inside, and your bottom piece for the inside would cover it. But I find it harder to glue that way. I mean, it might not be that bad. I mean, I don't like doing that. But again, this is all personal preference. So I'm gonna tip this upside down. Make sure that glue gets kind of spread around, and then don't be afraid to take it. I mean, it's pretty decently sturdy, and you can add a little bit of pressure and do it this way too, so that your edges are getting nice and flat. I mean, nobody's ever really gonna see the bottom, but it doesn't hurt to make it, you know, pretty. And like I said, you could mat the inside of the box if you really wanted to too. Obviously, we're not gonna do that. Just gonna make sure my edges. Okay, so next, we're doing the inside, so we might as well finish. So you got this piece, and you see this little circle. Well, these little circles are gonna stack up, and they're gonna create this channel that your straw fits into. So your paper straw will fit into here, and it is held. Now, if you don't want to use a straw, you don't have to use these pieces. This is just, again, personal. It depends on how you're going to make the box, but I'm going to make it how it was intended to be used, because I'm going to also use the rosettes that came out for the April release last month. So I'm going to use some of those cowgirl rosettes from last month, and I'm just gluing these circles on top of each other. Okay, so once you have your little stack of circles, you're just going to attach it right in the middle here, right where the guide is, basically. And we're going to set that aside and let that dry before we bother to like stick our straw in there or anything like that. So we are going to work on our mats. I'm just gonna, and they just go like that. They're not stitched or anything like that, so they just, you know, slap on. And again, like they said, this would have been easier if I had done this prior, but I didn't, so that's okay. Again, you could use glue, double-sided adhesive, whatever you want to do. So I'm gonna place it down just like that. And I could just, you know, just go like that. I think it'll be good enough, but I'm gonna lay it down and use my bone folder as well, just so I can make sure that it's good and stuck. So just like that, and I'm gonna work my way around. Okay, so now I have all of my side mats on my bottom. This, I think, this is pretty dry. So what I'm gonna do here, let me show you how. I haven't even opened, I don't think I've even used these. I've had these since last year, but I'm glad I do because they're perfect. I really wish they were pink, but they're not. So that's how it's gonna sit in there. So isn't that cool? So it's like perfect. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna glue the bottom of this, stick it in. Okay, I want to make sure I get pretty close to the edges though, because I don't want the edges lifting up in any way. I'm just gonna pop it in there like that. So it's a little bit smaller than the outside box. So if you want to get it perfect, it's going to take some maneuvering. So I definitely wouldn't use double-sided tape if you want it perfect. I don't know if I can get it exactly lined up perfect, but I don't think I really care. So I'm just going to make sure that it's stuck down really good. There, I don't know if you can see that. So it's not perfect, but I'm okay with that. I mean, sometimes I can be a perfectionist and have a little bit of OCD, but since it's in the inside and I'm not really gonna see it, I'm kind of okay with that. I just want to make sure that the corners are down really, really well so they don't lift up, you know, depending on what I put inside this. So there's that. Now I think that we're gonna move on to these pieces. I feel like that's the easiest step next. Yes, so we're just gonna glue all these pieces on. Okay, so I have all of those pieces stuck on, and now these pieces, I'm gonna go ahead and like score these, or fold them at the score and make sure that they're really well creased. All right, so now these ones will be a little trickier because they're right at the crease. They don't have a flat surface, you know what I mean? They're right on the edges. And the cardstock I'm using is the Scrap Diva collection, and it's a little like on the slicker side because it is like a semi-gloss finish. So it might, that's not too bad. I thought it was gonna maybe slide around, but it's not sliding on me. And you can still varnish like half and half like this, so that you know that it's stuck down, especially at that little tip. But that's all, like just like that. So I'm gonna glue the rest of these on. Okay, so here is what our box is looking like right now. It's really cute. So this is dried a little bit, so let's attempt to push it in. There we go. So it should, well, that's a way to do too. It should, oh no. All right, so Erica said that it should just kind of hug the straw and stay put like that. There you go. So it's just gonna kind of stay put like this. You could, if you wanted to not use it as like the wand holder, you could, you know, pop some holes in here and thread, you know, some kind of ribbon through or something like that if you wanted to do that, if you wanted it just to like a cinched top. box, you could easily do that, but yeah, the straw lets it sit snug enough to where it doesn't fall in. So now let's make the straw, or the wand, I guess. Okay, so for my wand, I'm going to use the Western Rosette set. Now I've already put this together once, so this is how big it is if you don't cut it down, and this is using 3 pieces, but I think I'm going to cut it down slightly because I don't think I want it quite that big. And I'm going to try just 2 pieces and see if that works. I might have to make another piece. I don't know. So I don't know what I want to cut it down to. So by itself, it's like 2 3/4. So that's like almost, like, how wide is it total? Let's see. So that puts it at almost 6 inches wide by itself if you don't cut it down. So that's a pretty big rosette. So I think I'm gonna cut it down to 2 inches. I think I'm gonna cut it down to 2 inches. So that's taking off a little bit. So, and I can put this aside and I can use this for another mini rosette if I want to. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut it down to 2 inches. So that should give me a 4-inch rosette total. And I feel like that's a pretty good size. So that's what I did. This is the Scrap Diva paper. I wanted it double-sided because you will see the back side. I'll probably end up doing something to the back side too. I'm not quite sure what yet. But then you just, you fold your rosette. Be careful with the little stars. They will, like, I didn't fold them taut when I folded it last time. I just kind of let it fold itself, but not like, a super tight rosette, so that the star would keep its shape a little bit more. Okay, now that you have both of your pieces folded, you're just gonna wanna overlap your sections and glue them together. So I'm gonna glue one down to make sure that it's really good, and then see if I need another section or not. Okay, so I ended up cutting one more. I decided I needed 3, and now we're just gonna put together our rosette. I usually like to start from the bottom side first. I really like to put mine in rings if I have them, like if you have like an embroidery hoop, if you have a lid, like this is just a Tupperware lid. This one is just a touch too small. But if you have a lid where you can pop it in, that works out really nice because I always feel like I need like one extra hand. Oops, I forgot to turn on my hot glue gun as well. Make sure you have your 2 little circles as well. They don't have to be perfect. So I like to try to get the center as tight as I can. Oh, my cat feeder's going off, sorry. As tight as I can, and what I try to do, it doesn't always work out the best with one hand. I try to just load up my circle with hot glue. Make my inner circle as tight as I can. And then I just pop it on like so. And you're gonna have to hold it for a second so it can like cool down and set. Otherwise it will just come unraveled. I think I need another glue stick. See? Just like that. Dang it. If that happens, I mean, it's an easy fix. It's just kind of popping some glue and shoving it back in. But yeah, you really want to hold it depending on how hot your glue gun gets so that it really holds its shape. That's why it's easier if it's in a ring where it's going to stay in that circle and not pop out. That's what I find the easiest, but I don't know where my embroidery hoops are. Those I find are just so handy. Not to even use as embroidery hoops, but just circles. So let me hold this and get another glue stick and I'll be right back. Okay, so you're gonna pull out all your glue strands. You're gonna flip her over, and there's glue on this side too, but that's okay. It'll come off. And see, like my circle is not, it's a little oblong. That's the only thing that, you know, by using your hands. But I like to fill the inner circle up with hot glue and let that dry, and then, or cool, and, you know, go around my ring, pop on the circle. And most of the time you're gonna be decorating these anyway, so it doesn't really matter what your center circle looks like if it's not perfect. And you just want to let it dry really good. And see, like this part is a little bit more spaced out than this part, but that's okay. Again, when you're doing it by hand, it's really hard to get it perfect. You know, nothing's always perfect, right? So this is gonna dry or cool down, and I'm gonna cut out some decorations so I can decorate the box and the wand, and I'll come all back and put it all together. Okay, so here is my rosette all done up. I just attached my straw underneath. I put something on the back on foam so I had room underneath for my ribbon. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I just used the like add-on, like mini, I don't remember what it's called. It's just the cowboy bundle, and there were 6 different dies, so it worked on the 6 different sides. This is out of the cowgirl stamp set, and this is the star shaker. I just popped a hole in it so I could hang this howdy from it. And then this is just like a little pom-pom from, well, it's on a pick. It's like a toothpick set that I got at Hobby Lobby. These little hats came from Hobby Lobby. Same way with the little disco balls. So I think it turned out really cute. There's so much room in here that you could just put like so many different things. So you could load it up with die cuts. You could put flowers in here, bows, like so many things for your swap, and it's all set in there. And it's just so cute. I'm definitely have like so many ideas running through my head on what I want to do with this next. I mean, Tony Craft Purge just had a carnival swap, and this is definitely given like big top vibes. You could have done something like that, or carousel. Like, yeah, I just see so much potential for this and so many different ways of doing it other than just a wand box. Like, you don't have to use the wand piece at all. You could just pop holes in here and use a drawstring to close it if you wanted. Definitely a lot of things can be done. So this is what I came up with. If you have any questions, please let me know down below. I will link all the products I used, and so you can do it yourself. And yes, if you have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.